Hi guys, I'm Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children. 12 of those children are still at home. I often get asked the question on how I do it. I think people want to know how I do it, just like financially and those types of things. And things have not been as easy as they are for us now. And I wanted to just go over one way that many families who might be struggling with this crazy inflation, that they might be able to get some help. So one way that the government offers is through a WIC program. So what I did was I did a WIC shop here. I went and had it as if I had the children that I have now. So it would be any children 5 and under qualify. No, under 5. I'll have to look that back up. I think once they turn 5, they don't qualify. Yeah, I think it's once they turn 5, they don't qualify. So I went through the list. I checked to make sure everything was good. So basically, I did a shop for 2 children, ages because they change it, and kids who are like 1 to 2, they get whole milk. I think that's like the only real difference. So this is what I got, and I'm going to actually go through everything that we got and give you some alternative ways to use some of the products that I'm going to show you here. And then if you stay tuned to the end, I'm going to actually share recipes with you guys that you can use to make you guys' full meals. A lot of times we're here and we see bits and pieces of things, but it doesn't really make a meal make sense in our minds, but you can use these products. Recently, they changed it so you can get fresh fruits and vegetables, and they give you a dollar amount on how much fresh fruits and vegetables you can get. So that's really a blessing. All right, so let's go. So we had 7. Okay. We did have 7.5 gallons of milk. I don't know where the other half gallon is. And it had to be 1% milk or no non-fat milk. You can get milk like this. You also are allowed to get dry non-fat milk. So if you are only shopping once a month and you wanted to get non-fat dry milk, you could do that. You can also get it to use in different recipes and such. Years ago when I got it, sometimes I would use the non-fat dry milk to actually make sweetened condensed milk for certain recipes, and that worked really well. This time I just got 7 gallons of this. You can freeze milk. You do not need to dump any out unless you want to, because there is room for expansion in these. But you can, if you want to, dump some out and then freeze them like that. That's fine. But there is room. These newer bottles will allow you to freeze them in there. If you feel more comfortable, you can open it up, dump some out, and then use that and then freeze it. So milk will last a few months in your freezer. I'd say up to 3 months in your freezer. Okay, so I have 7 gallons here, and then I could also get 3 gallons of the whole milk, and you are allowed to buy organic milk. In our area, you can only get organic in the whole milk. We can't get it in like fat-free or anything like that. I don't even know if they sell organic and fat-free. You cannot get raw milk, but you can get organic milk. So I was allowed 3 gallons. 1, 2, 3. That's what the grocery store had. They didn't have 3 regular gallons. So the milk is going to be a base to so many different meals. You'll see later I have some broccoli, so we're going to do some cream of broccoli soup. I have some corn down a little ways, and we're going to do like a corn chowder. It's going to be really good. So I also have eggs. The eggs, remember, you do not just have to have eggs like this. Eggs could be used to make muffins. You could hard boil eggs. You could make salad. You could make deviled eggs out of them. There's so many good ways to have eggs. You can cook rice, and then you could just drop a couple eggs into your rice to add a protein to your rice itself. There's lots of ways to use eggs. It's a good protein. So you're allowed to get whole grain items. I think for 2 children it was 80 ounces. I know that between this and this, I should have actually got one more bag of rice, but I didn't. Once I figured out the math. So I got one whole grain oats. They didn't have whole grain, they actually had quick rolled oats, and that's what I got. And then one brown rice. I got one bean. So I'm gonna divide this up a little bit, and you'll see some recipes that I use that in. And then I have juice and cranberry juice. Cranberry juice is really good for your systems, like your urinary tract system and that type of stuff. So one good thing that we do sometimes is take cranberry juice and mix it with apple juice and just drink that. Another thing is that I used to do when I got WIC, it was to take the juice and to pour that into containers to make freeze pops for the kids when they were younger. So we used to like pour them into old like tiny yogurt, single yogurt cups, pour them in there, and that would be a pop. Now I think they make like those silicone like push-up pops and that type of stuff. So then we got 3 frozen juices. So I got 2 orange juices and then 1 pineapple juice. And if you mix the 2 of those together, that's real good too. Another thing with the juices, if you want to make smoothies, so here I got the triple berry blend, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. You could take this. I would normally buy organic, but for this, I was just doing this. This was $12. You could take the triple berry blend and you could mix that with some salad and just put a plop of the orange juice or something in it, and it actually will make it like a sweeter type smoothie, or you could even do the frozen concentrate like that. And it actually, if you didn't want to use a sweetener, you could use that kind of like a sweetener in a smoothie, and that is really good. So then I wanted to show like the 3 different types of cheese that you can get. You can get, I don't even know if American cheese is actually cheese. I don't think it is, but anyway, you can get this if you were making sandwiches and stuff. Colby Jack, you can shred that. It actually, cost-wise, is more cost-efficient for you to shred your own cheese, plus you don't have all the byproducts of shredded cheese. String cheese. Other things that we bought, we could get a whole yogurt, and then we could get some Greek yogurt. So a good breakfast thing would be maybe some Greek yogurt with some of the berries, and then you could take one of your cereals. If you look at the different cereals are really high in sugar, so you may not want to have cereal for, say, breakfast in the morning, because that's going to be like a really high sugar, and it's going to make blood sugar levels go really high and then crash. But maybe you could use something like Honey Bunches of Oats almost as a granola to put on top. So you can have your yogurt, and then you would add your berries and then a little bit of Honey Bunches of Oats on top for your granola. So I'll just go over other cereals. I like to, if I do get cereals, I like to try to use cereals as almost like a snack food rather than a breakfast food. So like Chex, you can do Chex Mix. If you are gluten-free, then you could just use the rice Chex and there's a bunch of different types of Chex Mix. Their website has tons of different recipes. This one on the bottom, Muddy Buddies, is a real sweet one, and that has chocolate chips, peanut butter, powdered sugar, and vanilla. That's almost like a dessert. Rice Krispies, you can always make Rice Krispie treats. Most of the boxes have has the recipe: 3 tablespoons of butter, 40 marshmallows, 6 cups of Rice Krispies cereal. If you are not having corn or not non-organic, there is marshmallows that you can buy that aren't GMO. Cheerios are a good snack food for toddlers that you can just put down on a tray, and they usually can pick them up and eat them fairly easily. Peanut butter is isn't peanut butter a staple in like everyone's household? It's good for so many things. So I'll talk a little bit about that over in our vegetable section as well. So you can also buy corn. Organic canned corn is what I chose here. So for one of the meals, I'm going to use the corn and some potatoes over here, and some of the milk that we have. As you can see, we have a ton of milk. I want that milk to become good meals. So for that, I'm going to make a corn chowder. So I'll make sure that I have that at the end of this video. So now on to vegetables. So for 2 children, it was $99 worth of fresh fruits and vegetables. So you can have frozen. So like my berries were included in that cost. So you have frozen fruits and vegetables. So what I plan on doing is taking the celery and the carrots and the peppers and just slicing those up, so you'd be able to use that just for like fresh eating. An option would be is if you have beans, you could always use chickpeas. You can get canned beans as well, so you could use chickpeas and always and you could do maybe like a hummus or something like that would be okay for you to dip your vegetables in. So I try to plan cheap vegetables. So those were going to be for fresh eating. So potatoes, so I'm going to grab some of these potatoes, and some of the potatoes are going to be for that corn chowder, and then some of them can be separate for something else, which we will talk about. I think what I'm probably going to do is take a couple of these corns, maybe 2 of the corns, for a smaller shepherd's pie, and then the other corns I'm going to use for that corn chowder. So then this would be potatoes for the shepherd's pie. Sweet potatoes, avocados are a very healthy fat, great to eat. I did not buy, I had enough that I could have bought, but I did not buy because I have a bunch in my fridge, salad mix. So you could easily put a lot of nutrition in there, just grabbing salad mix and putting like avocado and tomato on it, onion on it, whatever. Make sure that you're looking for things that are on sale. So I got these because they are marked down. These were $2.47 for 3 pounds. So that's under $1 a pound. When you do find a bag like this, take it over to the scales and make sure that it's not being marked down because there's fruit that's missing from it. Make sure that it's still the weight that you wanted it to be. The onions I got asparagus because they were only $1.98 a pound, which is a really good price for asparagus, and it looks so yummy. A pineapple was on sale. I think it was $1.68. Don't quote me on that. It was under $2 though, but I got a pineapple. I got some bananas. And then over here, I have some mixed vegetables. These ones right here, I'm going to mix with some of the milk to make a chicken pot pie. I have some of these broccoli stir-fry veggies. I think that I'm going to do a stir-fry with pork and a stir-fry with chicken separately. I have the broccoli florets to make cream of broccoli soup. I have some other stir-fry veggies here that can go along to do a different type of stir-fry, and onions and peppers here that I don't know, I really got to think what I want to do with that. So that is our grocery trip. So what I'm going to do now is start on some of those meals and come along with me. Okay, so now we're just going to make a small pan of shepherd's pie. So I'm taking one of the cans of corn and I'm going to dump that in. No, you. Can you get a spoon for the potatoes? And then I'm going to take some ground up hamburger. I'm only going to use about 1/3 of a pound of this hamburger, and just make sure it's spread around. And then I'm going to use some mashed potatoes. You can even use leftover mashed potatoes, will work great. It's a great way to use up leftovers. And just be like really generous on the mashed potatoes because that's going to fill everyone up. So, everyone loves this. Even the kids love stuff like this. It's so good. The kids like to put ketchup on theirs. Not everyone likes to have ketchup on it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put this in the oven, 350, for about half an hour or so. And you're just warming everything through. The top will get a little bit crispy and it will be so delicious. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take some oil. I have about a cup of oil in here, and I am going to turn my burner on real quick. I have about 2 breasts here, and then I'm going to take 2 of these bags. You could use butter or other oils as well. It would work out fine. So I had cooked up some chicken. You can see I actually have some more chickens over here for another meal, but just 2 chickens, and we had cooked those up. So it's just 2 breasts off of chicken like this. I'm gonna just cook this down a little bit. Now I'm going to show you how to do 2 things kind of at the same time. So this is the mixed veggies and that chicken here, and this is going to cook down. Now while I cook this down, I'm going to move this. I'm going to move it over to the other burner, and then I'm going to start a stir fry on this burner. Can you grab me that big pan, please? And then if you can get me 2 of those broccoli stir fries over there would be great. Okay, so I'm just going to move this over here and let that cook while we put this here. And I'm going to put a little bit of coconut oil. Where'd that just go? Let's see. Oh, my daughter's going to grab it for me. So I'm going to grab a little bit of coconut oil for this. Just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Maybe like 3 tablespoons. And I'm going to throw some chicken in here. Some people take every little bit of fat off. We do not. Fat actually brings a lot of flavor. If there's too much fat, then you can always just take that off while you're eating it. But the fat is really going to bring out the flavor. So a good way to buy meat is to purchase it when it's on markdown. So you'll see, like at Walmart, they have these yellow stickers. I think other stores have stickers like that as well. And that is a great time to purchase your meat, because then you're getting a full meal. So this right here was $6.94, and then we're going to have our broccoli stir fries that we got from our WIC. So I'm just going to grab some Abdullah. So we're going to season this a little bit. And then I'm going to season this a little bit. Okay. So this is just going to cook up, and I'm going to grab a spoon. Okay, sorry. So I'm just going to add a little bit of sesame oil to this, and then some teriyaki. You could also use like coconut aminos. Really, you can season it with whatever you want to season it with. Even just plain would be fine. So something like a stir fry like this, you could eat it over rice to stretch it out. Leftover rice is great. So when you're cooking rice, you can cook your rice 1-to-1 plus a little, I say. So if you were making 2 cups of rice, then I would do like 4.5 cups of water. A good way to cook rice is in your Instapot. If you're cooking white rice, you can do whatever your measurements are with a pat of butter or a pat of oil, and you could turn that on for 5 minutes. For brown or wild rice, you want to do about 12 minutes. So I'm just going to let this, there we go. I'm going to let this cook down, and then this cook down. It's a good way to stretch your time too, is to make a couple of things at once. So we're just waiting. This doesn't really need to cook. We just kind of want the vegetables to thaw out in this. So while those are thawing out and this is cooking down, I'm just going to go in my cabinet and look for something to thicken it up with. So different things you could use as a thickener would be, you could use flour, you could use gluten-free flour, you could use arrowroot powder, you could use cornstarch or organic cornstarch, are all thickeners. So my daughter is working on doing the pie crust. So our basic pie crust is 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of shortening, and a pinch of salt, and then cold water to make it till it's a crust. We're doing that with a gluten-free crust today, and I don't like the gluten-free crust as much. I'd rather top it with cornmeal, but the regular crust comes out really good. And I mean, it's good. It's not like it's not good. It's just a preference thing. So this is making pot pies, and this is making a stir-fry dish. So when your meat is about halfway cooked, which I think it is about now, I'm just going to open these other packages. Can you grab me a cover for this? If you need to stretch it further, you can always add more vegetables and less meat. You can always add more rice. If, say, like the stir-fry veggies, here are $2.50 a piece, whereas broccoli is cheaper. You could always, it's only 98 cents. You could always take this, like this, and then add some broccoli to it and make it stretch out for cheaper and have more vegetables. So I'm going to stir this in and then I'm going to cover it. I'm going to switch burners too so you guys can see what's in there. My baby's being tended to. She's getting teeth and it's later in the afternoon, which if you guys are cooking the same time of day I'm cooking is probably, you know, the grumpy hour. They're getting tired for bed, they're teething, nobody wants to get along. All right, so that's gonna go over there. This is gonna come over here. This is getting covered. As you can see here, let me see if I can show you better. As you can see here, all the veggies and stuff are all situated. Everything's kind of cooked down a little bit. So I'm actually going to use arrowroot. And however much oil you put in the beginning is how much you'll equal it. So if you did say half a cup of butter or 1 stick of butter, then you'd put in half a cup of flour if that was what you were doing there. So here we go. We have this here, and I'll grab the milk. So you can really use any milk. Sorry about that, leaving you hanging. Grab my milk. And then I'm just gonna pour it just over top. I would say about 1/3 of a carton. Let's see. 1/3 to 1/2 of a carton is what you're going to be looking at. And then you're going to stir. Now this right here, so you're probably at about 1/2 a carton here. This right here could also be a base. Like say you had some mashed potatoes, you could like dump this over mashed potatoes, or if you ate bread, like you could, if you ate bread, you could like toast the bread and then dump this over the bread as a meal. That would be good. See how it just thickened up here? All right, so that's all set. So I'm just gonna turn that off and go grab my pans. Okay, so my daughter, she did the crust. So here we go. We are going to, I want you to be able to see it. My shoulder's actually bothering me. Let me see. Can you hold? Actually, I got one. I'll just use the measuring cup here and put this in. Let's see. All right, let's see. Can I switch this over? There we go. There we go. So that is beautiful. So I'm just going to take another pie top, put it on top, and then we're going to throw it in the oven. So this recipe is actually going to make 2 pies for this. So a fairly inexpensive meal. All right, guys. So I turned on. It was 5 cups of rice that was in one of those bags. So I'm going to use that 5 cups because I would have actually been able to get 2. So I'm going to cook up one of the 5 cups in here. So right now I had 12 cups of water, and then I have the next batch. It's like the same thing, the 2 breasts of already cooked meat along with those 2 bags of the mixed vegetables in here. So I am going to be adding the arrowroot powder again to that, or cornstarch. I have to go see because I just realized that my arrowroot powder is empty. So I will be right back. Okay, so I just added cornstarch and the rest of this milk into here. So this is going to make, it's going to thicken up like the pot pies did. And I am going to be putting that into different dishes and then covering it with a cornmeal so it will puff up on top, and that will make a whole nother type meal for us. So while I'm waiting for this, I'm just going to get going on another recipe that I have planned for you guys. And that is, I'm going to take some of this chicken and I'm going to make chicken and rice. Okay, so this is thickened up really nicely, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So I have here a 9x13, and so I have this creamy mixture here, and I am going to, I think I'm going to look for my scooper. Okay, so I'm just going to take my scooper and fill this pan. I want to only fill it like half full, and it doesn't have to be super thick because the cornbread is going to take some of this up and absorb some of this into it. So I only want to fill it about halfway, maybe a little bit more full. So this is going to do a 9x13. And then I think a cake pan. Yep, that looks about good. I don't know if you all can see that. I'm going to show it to you like this. So I have my 9x13 like this. And then I'm going to take my cake pan. Yes, well loved. Old trusty. And I'm going to put the rest of it into here. So remember, we have those 2 breasts in here. We have a little bit of abdoo. We have those 2 bags we got from WIC in here, the mixed veggies. And then we have the thickener, whatever that is for you. It could be cornstarch or flour, a little bit of oil, and then half a gallon of milk. So we have both a 9x13 as well as this round pan. So then my daughter made a cornbread mix. You can even use, let's see if there's a way. You can see that one okay. You can even use a, they're like little Jiffy Pack breads or something like that. They're fairly inexpensive. So this does not have to be perfect. You pretty much are just plopping it all over the top, but it comes out really good when you cook it because it gives you that little bit of breadiness to it, but it doesn't have to be all over the top. It can just be like in between. And it just, I don't know, it gives it a good flavor. It gives it a texture. So you kind of have like the bread on top and then the creaminess all throughout. But it makes a very filling, good meal. Grab a spoon. Grab a spoon to get the rest of this out. So you can use whatever cornbread recipe is your favorite with that. And so it's kind of just sitting here on top. I know I don't have the best lighting in here, but the yellow is the cornbread, and it's just kind of sitting on top here. And we made these two, and then we're gonna pop these right into the oven. All right, guys, so my rice is cooking. I have 4 large cooked breasts in here that I took off of chickens that I already have cooked. I'm gonna add a little bit of coconut oil, and I'm going to add this broccoli in here, and I'm going to saute this up for a few minutes. So while I do that, I'm gonna see if I can get a light in here so you can actually see what I'm doing for the rest of this recipe. I know I have weird lighting in my house, but I'm still trying to do what I do and show you what I'm doing. So I'm gonna have about 4 cooked chicken breasts into this pot here. I just chopped. Did it turn red? Okay, so right here I have about 4 chicken breasts already cooked. I'll show you guys that. And then that 2 pounds of broccoli. And so this time I'm going to make it in a bigger dish. So you could actually make 2 9x13s. I'm going to add about a cup of cornstarch. A couple of sprinkles of abdoa. You could use any seasoning that you choose. And stir that all in. Can I have one of those milks? Yeah. My daughter can read my mind. She heard me say milk, blah, 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 that one. So I'm using probably, let's see. I wanted to like cover them, so stir this in and see how much I need. Still. Yes. Can you get a new dress? Or no? Okay, open that. Okay.
Somewhere where I can't find it.
Yeah, you can, Mom.
Open this. I just want to
Okay, so you're going to use about half a gallon of milk. And we're going to let that thicken up. So it shouldn't take too long to thicken up. What I'm going to do while I'm waiting for that to thicken up is I'm going to open the rice. I've letting the pressure off. I'm going to open up the rice. Steamy, steamy. And take this out. Oops. Cooking nothing over there. So, I'm going to just fluff this up a little bit. And then I'm going to be putting this in with that to make a huge casserole. So the only things that are in here are the oil, the chicken, the 4 breast already cooked chicken, 2 pounds of broccoli, half a gallon of milk, and a cup of either arrowroot, any thickener, flour, cornstarch. I used cornstarch. And then I have the 5 cups of rice already here. So what I'm going to do is dump this rice in. What I'm going to do is grab an actual pot holder. Actually, maybe I can do this.
I'm going to scoop behind you.
There we go. All right. Now it just started to burn my thumb. Thank you. Steam was like coming up through and burning my thumb. Okay, so I'm going to mix this all in together. And I want this to thicken just a bit, but not too much, because it's going to be cooking in the oven, and we won't have any issues with it thickening up once it's in the oven. Just want to stir it in real good. You could definitely add different vegetables. You could add a mixed bag, you could add more broccoli, you could add whatever kind of vegetables that you wanted to add in here. So I am going to now take this and pour it into this pot, and then I'm going to top part of it. I can start to feel it thicken right here. Actually, maybe I do want the pot holders. Thank you.
These ones are square.
Those are good, yeah.
The jean side is the side with the protector on it.
Alrighty. Oops. Okay. My daughter just said the jean side is the one with the protector on it, and I put the pot holders on backwards. So, pour all of that right in there. So our friends actually are Rekindled Roots on YouTube, and they sent these pot holders. My daughter and her daughter are friends, and she sent her a nice birthday present, so she's allowing me to use her well-loved pot holders. Okay, so we have that, and now we're going to add some cheese on top. You do not have to add cheese. This would be fine without cheese. Our family is usually dairy-free, so these meals that I am making for this kind of like show you what to do WIC thing are meals that I used to make. I don't make them so much anymore, but what I'll be doing is the people who can have the dairy products will have this, and then we'll have an alternative to go with it. So like we might have this big casserole here, some people would eat that, and then some people might have just a different freezer meal that I prepare for that evening. So this is the meal. It's looking yummy. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. Looking good. This would just go in the oven for about half an hour, and it would just get bubbly and cheesy and yummy, and that would be great. Another alternative, if you wanted to, would be to take this here, cook it like this, and then you could even serve this in tortillas if you wanted to. Okay, so this is the broccoli, rice, and cheese casserole. Okay, so we are back here. If you can hear that sound over there, that is my canner. I am actually canning beans while I'm doing this video, so my stove is being used. So we have a wood cook stove here. So over here I have some chicken stock, and that's just going down to make chicken broth. That was not done before I did these, or else I would have used the chicken stock from that to do these. But this is what we're doing. I have, in this pot here, I have 2 onions and that 2-pound bag of broccoli in there, and some coconut oil. And then in this one I have potatoes and 2 onions in the bottom. And so I'm just going to cook those up for a couple minutes before I add some of the other ingredients. So we're just going to cook these until the onions are soft, and I will be back. Okay, so this has about 6 ounces of bacon, 2 onions, and about 5 potatoes chopped up. This is now cooked, so the onions are soft. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add... Oops. Okay, I can't do it one-handed. I'm going to add cornstarch, but I can't do it one-handed, so hold. And we'll try that again. Okay, so I'm just going to take this. I have seasoned that with salt, pepper, and adobo. And now I'm going to add some cornstarch. You do not have to add bacon to this. There's plenty of times I have not added bacon to this. And it turns out just fine. It really just depends on the budget and what I have in the refrigerator. So I am going to stir this around. And then I'm going to add my corn. So I'm going to add 4 cans of corn. I'm going to add the liquid right in there with it. It's fine. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Hi, baby girl. And then I'm going to stir this in just a little bit. Here we go. What are you doing? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just add some milk. Stir that in. So that was a 6-ounce package of bacon, 5 potatoes, 2 onions, a little bit of coconut oil on the bottom there, and then we have 4 cans of corn, some cornstarch to thicken. You could use flour, you could use arrowroot powder, and that's that right there. It's going to thicken up for a couple minutes. Then we're going to turn over to this. I'm going to take the spoon out, cover this for a minute and show you what's in here. So here we go. We have the broccoli in here. Okay, can you use quieter voices, please? Thank you. They are all about an adventure this morning. So this has 2 onions and the broccoli here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the cornstarch. Whoops. It's about a cup of cornstarch. I'm going to stir this in a little bit. So for this, you do not have to do this. You can just choose milk. I'm going to add in some chicken stock, just to add a little bit of nutrition in there. I also added the salt and the pepper and the abdoo in here. I'm trying to just use a couple of spices so you realize that you don't need tons of different spices. That will work just fine. So now I'm going to add the milk into there as well. Victoria, could you hand me this other milk here? The other one right there on the floor. The baby dumped it over. Can you open it, please? Yes. That'd be great.
Oh, it smells good, doesn't it?
Splash it.
Good job. Thank you. So we're going to add some of this. My wood stove is so dirty right now. It's the end of the season. I do wipe it down, but I really scrub it at the end of the season. You can add also to cream a broccoli soup. You can add potatoes in there if you wanted to. You could pour this into a bread bowl if you wanted to. Whatever you want to do. You can add cheese. I think I'm going to add cheese to this one.
I'm invisible.
Could you grate the cheese? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just take this lid, put it over here. Cannot really regulate temps on here, so I don't know how long it's going to take to do. It's starting to thicken up here. This is actually beautiful. Look at all the pieces. This would be a meal for our family, or we're going to have both of these for lunch. But this is an 8-quart pot. You'd be able to serve people for quite a few days. Just make sure that you're stirring it so the bottom tends to get thicker before the top. Just stir it right in. So this right here is about done. We'll just eat that like this. I'll let this cook down and then throw some cheese on top. So there you have it. We got quite a few meals done made from that WIC. I am hoping to get a video series done, or a video done with a bunch of bean recipes. We do on the WIC, you can get beans as well as rice, and I was going to put that on here, but I decided that maybe I should make a separate video, one with egg recipes and then another one with bean recipes, because those are also great ways to stretch $1. So I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe. Thank you.